Mainstream media is picking up the story of the Nazca mummies. This is huge, guys. I love it. So let's talk more about the Nazca mummies. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll also address whether the mummies are mummies. Are they just bodies? Are they desiccated, dried out, naturally mummified mummies? Or are they deliberately, ritualistically mummified? Well, let's talk about that. But first, let's talk about this awesome article by MSN. Actually, it's by the Daily Mail, I think. Yeah, it's a rebroadcast on MSN from the Daily Express. So yeah, there we go. But they get a lot of their facts wrong. I say it's a good article because it is in the mainstream. It is actually getting some eyes on the Nazca mummy story in a big way, in a much bigger way than typically, right? So that's awesome. But yeah, just listen to what they have to say here. X-ray images have unveiled the skeletal structure of a so-called alien mummy, complete with its oversized head and three-fingered hands. Discovered by local farmers in Nazca, Peru in 2017, and we know that it wasn't found by farmers, they were found by tomb raiders. These bodies quickly caught the attention of the scientific community due to their peculiar features such as elongated skulls and tridigital limbs, fueling intense discussions about their origins and authenticity. Recent research has confirmed these beings are biological entities, so that's awesome. And X-ray scans now provide a glimpse into their internal composition. They call them humanoid. They have a resemblance to human. They say they're 1,700 years old, which of course is not true. There's a range of dates from 1,000 years old to 7,000 years old. It also says at one point they have no eyes. Yeah, they lack eyes. They don't lack eyes. Their own pictures they show on the article clearly show they have eyes. So, they get a lot of their facts wrong, but they are saying they are real beings. There's x-rays, there's all these tests done showing these were once living beings. This is mainstream media taking the mummies seriously. This is huge. This comes right on the heels of Gary Nolan beginning to take the mummies seriously. Was this article influenced or spurred on by Gary Nolan's new take on the Nazca mummies, or his new willingness to look at the research? Hard to say, but it is interesting that it comes right on the heels of that. Either way, we're starting to get more mainstream acceptance on the Nazca mummies, and I love it. Other people are talking about the implants. Jason Wild says this Peru mummy's osmium implant raises bizarre questions. Osmium, while incredibly dense and hard, can be corrosive to biological tissues unless alloyed perfectly. Given osmium's rarity and high cost, creating an implant would require meticulous engineering and a significant amount of this precious metal. This discovery challenges our understanding of ancient technologies. I believe this mummy is over 1,000 years old. Yeah, in one of the little guys, we have this really interesting implant on the clavicle. There is an injury to the clavicle and likely caused by a cat. These little guys, you can understand how a cat or, a wild cat could be dangerous to these beings. I'm suffering from a cat-related injury right now. If I look a little ragged, it's because I didn't get much sleep last night. The cat's fine. My arm is not that great right now. Word to the wise, if you want to take in a wild outdoor cat, make sure he's cool. Make sure he gets along with the other cats and that he's generally friendly, not a hell-raising tomcat like we took in. Whew, okay, anyway, moving on. Talking about the osmium implant. This person right here, Dr. Shea Brenneman, says osmium implants on the Nazca mummies has a connection to the ammonia smell reported after alien encounters, such as in Virginia, when they described this intense smell for 20 days after, and the smell in the hospital was overpowering. She says, the pictures of a guy, I guess Shia Anyway, the doctor says osmium, the word osmium in Greek literally means odor. Interesting, right? So osmium may be kind of sneaky. Could that explain some of the stinky smells among the beings? And yeah, we don't know why they put these implants in. The implant of in the clavicle, possibly to shore up the bones after that cat-related injury. That's the only sign that we have of any of the possible reasons behind any of the implants. And that's just a guess. We don't know that for sure. It could just be a coincidence that the osmium implant in that being's clavicle was directly over an injury. But yeah, we don't know what the implants are for. In my mind, I connect it with the implants in alien contactees and abductees. It's very interesting that there is this a cultural or technological connective tissue between the beings that are taking people and possibly the beings that created the Nazca beings, if that's what happened. The Nazca beings have implants, and so do abductees. They're different implants, but there's got to be a connection, right? That's where my mind goes. But let me know your theories on the implants in the comments below. But the osmium stuff is wild, and it's great conclusive proof because we only discovered osmium a couple hundred years ago. But the Nazca beings were using osmium 1,000, 2,000 years ago. It's awesome. It's great proof, guys. It's great proof. But are they mummies? Are they just desiccated bodies that are just naturally mummified because of the dry conditions and the diatomaceous earth? Well, some of them absolutely seem to be just naturally mummified. In other occasions, there seems to be a deliberate, possibly ritualistic mummification that occurred with those beings. We have researchers like Cliff Miles, who wrote this very long paper. He's a paleontologist. There's a little controversy about, just who he is. So this is the best information that I've been able to find on him. He used to run a paleontology lab out west, but is retired now. These kinds of labs often get hired to do the digging at construction sites. Several states out west require that any fossils are removed safely before construction proceeds. He never published any papers, but is referenced by a colleague who works at the University of Colorado several times. Without a formal science background, he's not necessarily a reliable source of biological information outside of things very specifically concerning dinosaurs. Because, of course, he is a paleontologist, but he took an interest in the Nazca mummies and went down there with his son to do hands-on investigation with the bodies. And he wrote this long paper here with lots of pictures and diagrams and stuff. It's quite a long paper, and I've gone over some of the data in this paper before. But the part about the mummification, he addressed that in a series of Reddit posts. And this is what he had to say about mummification. And of course, he is not the only researcher to find evidence of mummification, but he's the only one I can remember offhand. I've done so many videos on the Nazca mummies. If you want to find further evidence of the deliberate mummification, you have to sort through all my videos on the Nazca mummies. I actually tried, but there's too many videos. Too many videos, guys. I actually went to ChatGPT to see what they would say if they could come up with any of the names of researchers. They give you a lot of debunking stuff, but they do say that supporters of the Nazca mummy theory, such as Cliff Miles and others, argue that these beings were intentionally mummified, possibly by an ancient culture to preserve their remains. So yeah, so let's go to the Reddit post where he's talking about the mummification. He says, they are indeed mummies, and they have gone through a mummification process. They are not fossils, nor have they been calcified. They remain soft tissues and bone, much like they were when they were alive, except they are now dry and hard. When we used an endoscoscope to explore the inside of the 7 skulls, not one brain was encountered inside the cranium. I was wrong about the foramen magnums being square. it is likely going to be round or oval after all. I now believe that as part of the mummification process, a tool was used to enlarge the foramen magnums so that their brains could be removed as part of the mummification ritual by whoever was performing the process. I missed that in my description, which I will correct in the new paper. Fabric wrappings were used as well. We recovered strands of cotton from inside and outside of the loose skulls. I personally discovered that one of the 7 skulls clearly has the remains of the fabric wrapping impression on the outside of the skull. I am currently of the opinion that the fabric was used to hold the metal implants in place during the process of their mummification ritual. I am of the opinion that the metal implants are a post-mortem addition to their ritual process, and I can only guess as to why. Well, he is incorrect on that because it has been shown in subsequent studies on the implants that the implants are fused to the bone. Bone has actually grown around the implants, showing that the implants were placed in the bodies when the beings were alive. So take his research for what it is. And also, he was one of the early researchers on this. He wasn't blessed to have the 50 doctors and scientists having studied the mummies that we have now. He couldn't see that research because it hadn't been done. But yeah, he goes on talking about the mummification process. The bodies were subjected to at least 2 applications of dipping in order to better preserve the bodies. The first consists of some kind of resin. I could smell it when my son was cutting open the skull that we decided to use to take samples from. You can see that on some of the bodies that the resin application has at least 2 different consistencies. Josephina clearly has particulates in her resin application. Anyway, I'll link to this and you can read the full thing along with the full paper at your leisure. But there you go, some of the evidence. There's more, but there's some of the evidence that at least some of the bodies underwent a deliberate mummification. So they are actually mummies, at least some of them. Some of them do appear to be untouched, completely untouched. I don't know why they did different things to different bodies. If it was humans, putting them in these tombs, why didn't they do the same thing every time? Were certain mummies held in greater reverence than others? If so, I would really like a breakdown of which mummies underwent mummification and which didn't. That could tell us a lot about how those individual entities were interacting with the humans of the time. Of course, maybe the cultures, of the region changed over time, and maybe their interaction with the people, with the beings, changed over time as well. We just don't have enough information, but we are starting to get more information, and I also can't wait to see when we get more research into these beings and the human cultures as well, how they interacted with the Paracas beings and the Paracas culture, which did not live that far away. They had to be related, right? Had to be related in some way. At least they, send a postcard to each other every now and then, right? Anyway, so there's some of the research that proves that there is deliberate mummification. There is some information about osmium implants, very interesting. The stinky material that may or may not be related to the ammonia smell with alien abductions and other encounters, and also mainstream media. MSN actually covering the mummies. Even if they got the details wrong, they are getting the information out there, or some information out there to the people. Telling the people that these were real. And that's awesome, guys. That's awesome. I love it. Let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. My arm's kind of stiff right now, but let me know what you think about it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Buy some merch in the merch store. Don't you want a Cosmic Road t-shirt or a baseball cap or something like that? Come on, you do. Become a channel member to support the channel. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.